subscribe, and ring the bell to never miss an update. I'm excited to showcase my favorite tabletop brand, one that is near and dear to my heart. It's all about Waterford Crystal with a bit of history today on Lady Marybeth. Waterford is a manufacturer of crystal named after the city of Waterford, Ireland. This beautiful vase is the first in the Waterford Society launch, and it is called the Penrose vase, named after its founders. In 1783, George and his nephew William Penrose started their business, the Waterford Glass Works. It produced extremely fine flint glass that became world-renowned. Waterford Crystal has evolved over the centuries. They've had some stops and starts, and we are grateful that they are still in production today. I will showcase several categories for you, and yes, it was very hard to narrow it down. I will feature the #1 and #2 stem patterns in the world, along with some master cutter pieces, a museum piece, and some custom pieces that were made especially for our family. Araglan is the #2 stem pattern in the world for tabletop. It was one of my choices as a bride, which was very special because it was designed by my good friend, Jim O'Leary. He began his apprenticeship with Waterford in 1960 and eventually became design director for Waterford, and he had quite the following. I accompanied him on artisan tours, and he was somewhat of a celebrity. And we certainly miss him and are grateful for his contribution to Waterford design. And you will notice I have 3 vases here, and they're all the same tulip shape. And the actual pattern design is similar to Lismore, except it has an additional cross cut at the top. And these are so fun to collect. I think it could create a nice story on the table as well. This I found at my local Goodwill for $4.99. So always take a look when you're at a thrift shop. And the tulip shape is actually quite nice for arranging flowers. The opening is not as large. I really enjoy this. And I wanted to showcase the stem pattern. You will notice that Waterford typically has a 16 cut on the base. Those are the cross cuts, 8 that equals 16. And 14 hours of labor go into each glass. So next time you are sipping your beverage from Waterford, you can have some appreciation for the artisans who have contributed to this beautiful piece. And I think this is such a nice pattern. I hope that you can discover it too. Waterford has launched many collections over the years. In the 1990s, they had the Designers Gallery, and this was my favorite, the 4 Seasons vase. Each panel represents a different season. Let me show you. This is the summer with the sun rising. And this is fall with the leaves pointed down. Winter with perhaps snow or ice, and spring with everything blooming. And it really adds interest to your table. It is such a beautiful piece. I really enjoy the 4 Seasons vase. The Master Cutter collection was launched in the 80s and was still available through the 90s. And this is a collection that was made specifically by the artisans who had reached the pinnacle of their careers. And these are exquisite pieces. They all came with certificates. And these were usually in glass cases and very, very special. I will show you this beautiful design as an example of their craftsmanship. Underneath, it has olive cuts, which remind me of the Colleen pattern. And inside this bowl is a perfect example of what is known as the breath of Ireland, or an air bubble. This is a sign that it is hand blown and beautifully made. I'll give you a closer look at the breath of Ireland. This tiny air bubble is a breath of Ireland, and you do find this in some of the older pieces. I think it's quite charming and just it's reassuring that it is truly an artisan piece. This is my favorite master cutter piece. I acquired it at an antique shop years ago for about $300, which was a steal considering that they at the time were about $1,000. And I like this because it has the scalloped edge, which was very hard to achieve, and it also features the strawberry cut. You see those tiny cuts that come together, and this you usually just see in a museum collection piece. I would love for you to admire this beauty and imagine it filled with fruit. Such a pretty piece. This exquisite master cutter vase was a gift from Waterford Crystal for my wedding in 1995. I especially like the master cutter collection because it was made by craftsmen using the traditional techniques. They used wooden tools and shaped the molten crystal by hand and cut it slowly under a steady stream of water with a copper wheel. It's a true testament to the timelessness of Waterford Crystal. The Kennedy bowl is the most coveted piece in my Waterford collection. It sits high up in my living room, has a place of honor, and I admire it. It is very special. It is a museum piece, and this was replicated in the 1980s, and I was lucky enough to get one. It was originally given to President John F. Kennedy in the White House in 1961 by the Irish ambassador to the United States, and it was filled with shamrocks. It was made by the most experienced and talented master cutters at Waterford Crystal. It has an interesting oval shape, strawberry cuts, remember those are the tight cuts, and it has sort of a Monteith edging. This is very intricate, and it is quite the historical piece. A well-known and successful master cutter and designer with Waterford Crystal is John Stinson. He has since retired and has left quite a legacy. He's a very close friend, and I traveled with him often on artisan tours, and we still keep in touch. He has gifted our family with several pieces that he has custom made, not all of which I'm showcasing today, but I did select a few. This I have featured in a New Year's Eve segment. This is an original panel from the Times Square ball drop in 2000, and he has engraved it with our names and the year. And one Christmas he was visiting, and he presented us with a custom piece that is a triangular shape. And if you turn it around on the back, he has carved in some cuts that reflect quite nicely. And we have this beautiful candle that we feature in our living room. I love the artistic approach to that. And John Stinson and my older daughter share a birthday. We were quite surprised, didn't expect that, and he presented us with a carousel horse for her, inscribed with her name and their shared birthday of September 26th. So it's nice to have special pieces from our good friend John Stinson. Lismore is the world's best-selling crystal pattern. It was designed by a Czech immigrant, Mr. Miroslav Havel, who helped to revive Waterford Crystal in the 1940s and pretty much the whole crystal industry. And he has left quite a legacy with his beautiful designs. He was a master cutter, sculptor, polisher, and a blower. He did everything at Waterford Crystal and has saved these beautiful designs for us to enjoy today. It is a favorite amongst brides. Lismore is a prolific pattern. There are so many different pieces in this collection, and one of my favorites is the Rose Bowl. This I found at the Catholic Charity Guild for $12, such a deal, and I like it because you can feature this as a centerpiece on a table and it doesn't obstruct the view of your guests. The Lismore goblet is the most recognizable piece in the collection, and this you probably have seen in magazines and on tables if you've been a guest in someone's home. And with 14 hours of labor that go into each glass, it is quite something. It's always a good idea to have extra vases on hand, especially a bud vase that you could place a rose from your garden in, set it on a side table, and I like the tapered shape of these. The classic Waterford Lismore biscuit barrel is one of the most iconic pieces. I use this in a variety of ways. At Christmas time, I remove the lid and I place candy canes around the edge, and I sometimes fill it with cotton balls and place it on my vanity. It is a very versatile piece that I think should be in everyone's home. And the Lismore pattern continues with various hollowware and serveware. This is a mini creamer and sugar and a bowl that's perfect for strawberries. I love this as a centerpiece as well for a luncheon table. And you've seen the Lismore goblet. This is a sherry glass. The unique thing about the Lismore pattern is that they made probably about 40 different sizes and shapes for their pattern. And you can find anything from a martini to a port, a cognac, and you always have something for serving your favorite beverage in the Lismore pattern. I learned a lot in my career with Waterford, had great experiences working with VIPs, artisans, and Miss America 1995, Heather Whitestone. And I even had the scepter in my home for some time after the tour. That was exciting. But I wanted to share with you some of the tidbits that I learned along the way. If you're wanting to hear the beautiful sound of crystal, you never want to thump it. You always want to take 2 fingers and pull up. Isn't that beautiful? And another thing I wanted to mention is the Waterford sticker that you find on your item is meant to be removed. It is not a permanent part of your beautiful piece. We used to have customers that would ask for extra stickers because theirs was showing some wear. So please remove that. Anyone will recognize Waterford Crystal from across the room. And if you're looking to identify it, each piece has an acid etched stamp on the bottom. And the logo may have changed over the years in style, but it is always present. So turn the item over and look, and you will find it. The mark is sometimes very faint, as this one is. And if you really look sometimes between the cuts, you will also find it, because each piece, of course, is different and doesn't always have a blank area. And the modern Waterford mark has a seahorse. So be open to a variety of logos, but make sure to take a look next time you're at a thrift store and you might just find a hidden gem. Waterford continues to be a major brand in the luxury gift and home market. It is still a top choice for brides today. They have expanded into china and other table accessories over the years. I am most grateful for the career start that I had with Waterford Crystal. It has had such an impact in my life personally and professionally, and has influenced my love of tabletop. Thanks again for joining Lady Mary Bath. Elevate your everyday with beautiful Waterford Crystal. Thanks for joining Lady Mary Bath. Please hit like and subscribe. I hope to see you next time for more lifestyle tips.